I want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Ha, Rakah Kwadash. Double honors unto our apostle elders, which rule great millstone well, and shalom to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. May you endure unto the end. Shalom wa abba. All right, so today, with my daily verses, I got multiple Bible apps that I use the daily verses to help me, get into the spirit, to give me a motivation. If I read these out and I go into the chapter and check it out, the Lord give me something to give to the flock. And today, these daily verses lined up, all right, with what's going on today. All right, just like the movies they're putting out, like the movie Fifth Wave. All right, it's showing you at the same time that the last days are taking place. There's floods, there's uproars of the people, there's all kinds of. It's pretty much becomes an evil world, and that's what time we're in. We're in an evil world where the wicked are ruling the so-called Caucasians, the red devil the Bible speaks of. All right, and it says in this verse here, Psalm 130:2. Lord, hear my voice. Let thine ears be attentive to the voice of my supplications. Now let's go to the blue letter 130, Psalm 130. Let's see. This is a heavy chapter. See that right here. Let's go into it. It says, and Lord, I'm sorry, Psalm 130, verse 1, a song of degrees, pretty much the pilgrim Israelites as they went up to the temple, they would be meditating on these words, singing them. Out of the depths have I cried unto thee, O Yahweh. Lord, hear my voice. Let thine ears be attentive to the voice of my supplications, which we're supposed to be supplicating every day, all day, and not just for yourself, but for the flock of Yahweh Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai. He said, feed my sheep if you love me, to Peter, which he said he was going to build the foundation of the church on Peter, which was King David, King Masha, Moses, Zerubbabel. All right. It says, if thou, Yahweh, shouldest mark iniquities, O Lord, who shall stand? All right. But the elect stand. All right, and we're here to bear the iniquity of Israel, just like our master did. The servant is not greater than the master. So even though the hopeful elect, are found innocent by the blood of Yahweh Shai, we're washed in the word, we still have to bear the iniquities of Israel. All right, which we're sinners, we're in sinful flesh, just like Yahweh Shai came in sinful flesh to condemn sin. It says, but there is forgiveness with thee, that thou mayest be feared. Talking about our power. I wait for Yahweh, my soul doth wait, and I do. I truly do. I wait for the Lord. I was born to wait. I've been waiting my whole life. I knew it was the end time since I was a little kid. And I used to think, even to myself, I'd say, why is this world so wicked? And then when I came into the truth, when you believed, you've been sealed. It says, and in his hope, and in his word do I hope. That's why we're on these scriptures day and night. This is why we're nonstop with putting out this edification, because we're being edified. And it's not out of our own righteous works or our own power, but Yahweh Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai. It starts with them. They're thinking about us, and that's what activated us to think about them. All right. And our hope is that expected end. It says in verse 6, my soul waiteth for the Lord more than they that watch for the morning. I say, more than they that watch for the morning. Right? You got these left handed devils. Uh, the left hand of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, which they do evil, like the Illuminati, the adversary to Israel, Satan, is Esau Edom, the so-called white race, and they have witches that are in spiritual war with us. All right, and they're looking unto the signs of the heavens and the earth, but in doing wickedness against us, which it's going to fall as a plague upon their own head, because who could lay anything against the Lord's elect? All right, and that's the thing. Esau forgot who we are, and he's speaking evil of us, and they don't have the right to speak evil of the Lord's elect that came to spread the gospel of Yahweh Shai. It says in Psalm 130, verse 7, let Israel hope in Yahweh, for with Yahweh there is mercy. At the same time, he's bringing judgment. And with him is plenteous. At the same time, he's bringing famine. Redemption. At the same time, he's bringing condemnation. And he shall redeem Israel from all his iniquities, as we wait here and bear the iniquities of our people. All right, just like Isaiah, let's see, I think it's 6. No, it's Ezekiel. Yeah, right here. And the siege of Jerusalem. So this is what's happening right now, is the siege of Jerusalem, and that's what this other verse goes into. All right, Luke 17:31. In that day, he which shall be upon the housetop, and his stuff in the house, uh, let him not come down to take it away. And he that is in the field, let him likewise not return back, which he's prophesying about 70 AD. All right, which was when the Edomites came in, all right, and took the city in a siege. They built a wall all the way around it, and starved the people out, and then went in there and took what they wanted and destroyed everything. The one of them that survived through that was Josephus, Flavius Josephus. All right, and he's an Israelite that survived 70 A.D. and then wrote about it, and wrote about the antiquities of the Jews, which were the Israelites, all right, that lived in that land. But now we've been exiled because we sinned, and the Lord sends the other nations to come against us because we sinned. All right, now the elect are always with the nation of Israel as prophets, all right, but we bear the iniquity with Israel, though we have forgiveness of sin through Yahweh Shai. All right. So in Ezekiel 4, verse 1, it says, thou also, which this is dealing with when they went into Babylon. Okay. They got sieged, and they were taken into Babylon by Nebuchadnezzar. And the northern kingdom went in earlier by a forefather of Nebuchadnezzar. It says, thou also, thou also, son of man, take thee a tile and lay it before thee, and portray upon it the city, even Jerusalem, and lay siege against it, and build a fort against it, which they would build walls around it, because it had a wall. But then they would build a wall, and then in between those two walls was just a killing field. So if anybody tried to come out, they'd slaughter them, or if anybody tried to go in, they'd slaughter them. And eventually the resources would wear out, and the Israelites would get weak, and they'd be able to be captured. And cast a mount against it, set the camp also against it, and set battering rams against it round about, which is happening right now with the Edomite, the so-called white man, right? They're pretty much setting up the Israelites for slaughter. It tells you that in uh, 2nd Ezra 15 and 10. my people are led to the slaughter. It says in verse 3 of Ezekiel 4, moreover, take thou unto thee an iron pan, and set it for a wall of iron between thee and the city, and set thy face against it, and it shall be besieged, and thou shalt lay siege against it. This shall be a sign to the house of Israel. Which the Israelites today, they don't even get it. These people are about to slaughter them. They've been telling them on the news. All right, they've been telling them. Let me see if I can find that. All right, so I did. The water Yahweh Shem Yavshai. Abba Babal Mashapaitim call Adawamium Wagawayim Mashapaitim Babakusha. The water. So on this channel, I got, they got a lot of meat on TikTok, so I've been sharing it through this channel. All right, same channel as the YouTube name. All right, and right here, those that have been in the background talking and whispering and pushing a narrative, you will be found out, and they will be a justice, and maybe not in the courts, but they will be a justice. Those that have been in the background talking and whispering and pushing a narrative, you will be found out, and they will be a justice, and maybe not in the courts, but they will be a justice. Which these mayors been caught on camera talking about. They want to purge the Israelite, and the one they're talking about is the prophet of Israel. All right, and so they're gonna come down with great wrath, knowing that they have but a short time. All right, and that's why they're pretty much popping the chain on these law enforcements and giving them free reign of terror against the people. All right.
This is a war. We are at war. And that's why the gloves are off, and I say, bring it on. This is a war. We are at war. And that's why the gloves are off, and I say, bring it on. This is...
See, because they've always made a way for the Israelite through their religious freedoms that they allowed us to practice. You had the right to say, no, I don't want that. I believe in the Bible. Right? But now they're taking the gloves off. Pretty much they don't give a fuck. Well, they're condemning themselves. That's the thing. They're condemning themselves. Rome fell, all right, after 70 AD. Remember that. So, just like Babylon did, Nebuchadnezzar, his lineage did not rule forever. All right? What happened? Another nation came in and stopped it. The Medes. All right? Then what? The Persians. Then the Greeks, which were Edomites. The Romans. All right? And they all fell. And now America is falling, and it's going to fall like lightning at the return of our Lord and Savior, Yahweh Shai, who's going to fight against our adversary and our oppressor, who is coming against us violently, trying to murder us, trying to extinct us. But they're going to find themselves being the ones made extinct.
I support Israel. I support Israel. I support Israel.
Next question. How do you intend to ensure the accuracy of reporting on-job and economic statistics?
And that question is asked because it just came out that the job numbers that they were saying that all these jobs were being created under Trump was a big lie. And the number one job he created was being a ICE agent. All right, so he's creating government jobs just like the small hat that was in Germany. All right, with the little mustache, he gave the number one job to being what? An NAZI soldier, right? So this is what they're doing right now. They're eliminating the jobs, and you're gonna only have the job of being a soldier to them for them, and you're gonna have to take an implantable microchip. Now, not all soldiers wear camouflage uniforms. All right, you got these people walking around in plain clothes, ready to hop out and take your life with their sword. They're bloodthirsty people. They're the wicked, the red devil the Bible speaks of. And as you can see, this dude, his I should say Duke of Edom, uh, you can see his collar is white, the shirt, and his skin is red. He's not white, he's red. All right, there's different shades of red people, and there's different shades of brown people, from a yellow bone to a red bone. All right, when you're light brown, you're a so-called yellow, and when you're a dark brown, you're almost a so-called black. But there's really no such thing as a black person or a white person. That's a made-up lie.
I don't know what the situation was with the Department of Labor person. Neither do you. I don't know. I don't know. I can tell you, I've been an employer for a lot of years, and there's always two sides to every story. And I don't know what that side was. I will say this, though. If all that person did was get the data out there, if all that, and I don't know that's the case, but if that's all they did, I would not have fired her. I mean,
See? So there's no justice with these people. They're the wicked. He stands for Israel, which look what they're doing with the sword, which shows they're not the people. When you go to Isaiah 2, it clearly tells you that all the nations would be going into Israel for information so that they could learn the way of righteousness, except for Edom, because Edom is the wicked, and Edom will be made extinct after 1,000 years of slavery. All right, but you can see who clearly is the wicked. And then the wicked support this man. As you hear them booing, even though they're booing and playing the game, they're allowing this man to remain in power, so they're showing that they're for the wickedness. It's so simple, a child could understand this. But our people here in America, for the most part, the Israelite, the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American Indian, is blind to this willfully. They're willfully ignorant. And they're going to be destroyed in that unfaithfulness with this devil. His kingdom is going to be destroyed by nuclear missiles according to the biblical prophecies. All right? Let me see if I had anything else. Oh, yeah.
The guy that basically made up the rapture is also the original Christian Zionist. His name is John Nelson Darby, and this is a photograph we have of him because he did this in the 1830s. The rapture is not something that was in the Bible. It came out of this guy's mind. He founded a branch of Christianity called dispensationalism, and he preached about a pre-tribulation rapture where all the good Christians would get snapped up. And in order for that to happen, the Jews needed to be in Israel in order to facilitate his end times prophecies. So he basically came up with the concept of Christian Zionism as a side effect of his rapture nonsense, and gave the Jewish Zionists necessary allies in their fight to steal Palestine. There are very few people in history that have caused more problems than this man. All that crazy shit that evangelicals talk about, fucking the end of the world, and then allying with Israel, and then basically giving Palestine to the Israelis. You can thank this guy. And like very few people know this guy's name. I don't know why, but John Nelson Darby, that's him. He sucks.
All right, so now you have the sedition also taking place in 2nd Ezra 15, which you see the uproar of the peoples. All right, which they're angry at their leaders because they know, as clear as day that they're walking them into destruction. All right, so their own tongue is falling upon their own head at the same time as all these prophecies were prophesied of. At the same time, you got the prophet. You got the plagues coming, the siege happening. All right, it says in Ezekiel 4 verse 4, lie thou also upon thy left side, and lay the iniquity of the house of Israel upon it, according to the number of the days that thou shalt lie upon it, thou shalt bear their iniquity. Right? For I have laid upon thee the years of their iniquity according to the number of the days, 390 days. So shalt thou bear the iniquity of the house of Israel, and when thou hast accomplished them, lie again on thy right side, and thou shalt bear the iniquity of the house of Judah 40 days. I have appointed thee each day for a year. So he pretty much went bedridden for 390 days. All right. The prophet, which in these times everybody was known who was living in an area, so they would know a new face, in the area, like, hey, who is this person sitting at the gate? All right. So Ezekiel went from being an everyday normal life, and then he got commanded by the Lord to pretty much be bedridden for over a year, 390 days. And he was to lay on one side and then flip over to the other side. And he was bearing the iniquity of Israel. Because really, we're the fathers, the elect, all right, the hopeful elect. They're the fathers of all the Israelites, all right. And this is why we're bearing the iniquity, all right, because we are the body of Yahweh Shai, and He is our head, and we are not greater than our master. He bared the iniquity of Israel, all right, though He did not sin, and though we don't want to sin, we have to be here in these bodies of sin, condemning sin, bearing the iniquity of Israel. Just like Daniel, just like the three holy children that didn't bow before Nebuchadnezzar. All right, they didn't sin. All right, but they had to be amongst Israel, bearing that iniquity, and also so that the Lord could show His power through those men. All right, it says Verse 7, therefore thou shalt set thy face toward the siege of Jerusalem, and thine arm shall be uncovered, and thou shalt prophesy against it. And behold, I will lay bands upon thee, and thou shalt not turn thee from one side to another till thou hast ended the days of thy siege. All right? So he went from standing up to laying down with his arm stretched out, and he could not roll over, prophesying. So in that time, in today's time, that sounds like, oh, you got a whole building full of people that are in these psych wards or in these prisons, all sick. Well, if you actually did the research, which I've done through the Spirit, I've read these psychology books and these mental doctors that go in there and deal with these psych wards, and a lot of those people are speaking prophecies. All right, but they give them drugs to pretty much kill the mind. All right, to where they can't even think right, so that they could experiment with them and examine them and do research with them. All right, look at the movies of Exorcist. All right, that's a military base. All right, the movie Exorcist, the original thing was a military family. Look it up. Esau does these experiments. The other one, they clone Tyrone. I mean, there's so many movies on this. All right, where do you think they got the idea for? Because it's fact. Remember, reality is stranger than fiction. It says in verse 9, take thou also unto thee wheat and barley and beans and lentils and millet and fitches, and put them in one yeast, and make thee bread thereof according to the number of the days that thou shalt lie upon thy side. 390 days shalt thou eat of it. And thy meat which thou shalt eat shall be weight 20 shekels a day. From time to time shalt thou eat it. So he had bread and also water. Thou shalt drink also water by measure, the sixth part of an hin. From time to time shalt thou drink. While he was laying there, he was to be having bread and water, made an amount that the Lord commanded. And thou shalt eat it as barley cakes, and thou shalt bake it with dung that cometh out of man in their sight. See, so he's bedridden. What is he doing while he's eating and drinking? He's shitting. You understand? So literally, the Lord said that he had to eat the shit of man. What man? Himself. All right. So the Lord's commanding him a grievous thing, though he's a righteous man, Ezekiel. All right. Just like us, we got to go through Jacob's trouble. We got to endure the great tribulation, right? We got to overcome the temptation, the hour of temptation, which is when they bring that implantable microchip and make it mandatory for buying and selling. All right, we're in the shit. All right. It says, and Yahweh said, even thus shall the sons of Israel eat their defiled bread, which is happening right now among the Gentiles, amongst the heathen, whether I will drive them. Then said I, Ah, O Yahweh, my power, behold, my soul had not been polluted, for from my youth up even till now have I not eaten of that which dieth of itself, or is torn in pieces, neither came there abominable flesh into my mouth. See, he's a righteous man. He pretty much does as the Lord commands him, right? Why do I gotta do this? Then he said unto me, Lo, I have given thee cow's dung. So he had favor on him for man's dung. So instead of eating man shit, eat, cow dung. And thou shalt prepare thy bread therewith. Moreover, he said unto me, Son of man, behold, I will break the staff of bread in Jerusalem, and they shall eat bread by weight and with care, and they shall drink water by measure and with astonishment, because the Lord's going to bring a plague upon them through the siege. All right, a famine. He's going to bring a plague of famine. And that's what's about to happen to America. All right, the Lord's about to bring plagues upon America greater than now, which he's already plaguing it, but he's going to bring famine to where they eat their own children. All right, it says that they may want bread and water and be astonished one with another and consume away for their iniquity. And what is Israel's iniquity? They did not believe. All right, so let's go ahead and go back to Zephaniah 3 verse 9. All right, this next precept, it says, For then will I turn to the people, the Israelites, a pure language. And that's why we have the grace and apostleship, starting with Apostle Tahar. Pure actually means Tahar, and he's teaching us the truth, which is the pure language, that the Lord's name is not English, Jesus, nor Greek, Jesus, but Hebrew, Paleo Hebrew, Yahweh Shai. The Father's name is Yahweh. Together, Yahweh Bahasham in the name Yahweh Shai. Baharaka Kodash in the Holy Spirit, or the Spirit Holy, which dwells amongst his men. It says that they may all call upon the name of Yahweh to serve him with one consent. And that's what's happening in these last days. And that's why great fear is falling upon them, which see us standing upon our feet as a body of Israelites that believe in Yahweh's Son, Yahweh Shai, as it is written in the word of Yahweh, which he gave us the record of his Son. Revelation 11 and 3, And I will give power unto my 2 witnesses, and they shall prophesy 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth, which we're in these last days now. It says in verse 11, And after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from Yahweh, our power, entered into them, starting with Abba Bivens in 1969 in Harlem. At the same time, the Lord made way for him with the freedom of speech being allowed to the Israelites, in 1969 in Harlem, which you know as civil rights. All right, the Lord did this for Abba Bivens so that he could spread this news, and then it went to King Masha and them elders that were in One West, and then now you got the apostles and the elders which rule Great Millstone Wow. All right, which you in One West you had false prophets, and in you in the time of these last days you got Israelites that are false prophets like IUIC, ISUPK, Sakari. All right, it says, and after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from our power entered into them, starting with Abba Bivens and King Masha. And they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them, because now you have camps all over America, large camps. All right. And they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, come up hither, because they're going to persecute us, and the Lord's going to fight against them. Come up hither. And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, which is so-called UFO. All right, they're already here, sitting, waiting to save us, right when the Lord gives the command. So at the nuclear destruction of America, the Lord's gonna save us, and He's gonna avenge us. That's why those nukes are gonna eat the flesh of America, which He's gonna put it in the hearts of the allies and enemies of America to do so, and their enemies beheld them. So while we're going up into the heavens, being saved by Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, our bodies are going to be changed, and our spirit is going to be given a new body. The heathen and them that were unbelieving are going to be in the lake of fire, looking up, watching us go up into the chariot, into our salvation, and they're going to be here destroyed, burning in the lake of fire. At the same time, also, you're going to have all these troops of Edom's beast system gathered in the valley of Jehoshaphat. They're going to be fighting over our holy land, but then the Lord's going to come and fight them and actually destroy them, all right, with fire from the chariot and turn them to dust and smoke. And He's going to renew that land with fire and allow us to go back in that land and rebuild with our slaves. And the slaves are going to be the elite of all these different races that built bunkers, all right, to escape the wrath of the Lord. It says, "In the same hour was there a great earthquake, and the tenth part, which is America, the zip code system is 0 to 9, and the tenth part of the city fell, so the whole nation is going to be destroyed in 1 hour. And in the earthquake were slain of men 7,000, so no man will survive in America, even in bunkers. And the remnant were affrighted, which were going to be affrighted by the glory of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, and gave glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai of heaven. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly," which that third woe is going to lead to that nuclear destruction. That's why you see America sending nuclear subs to Russia. That's going to entice the Medes, which is the Russians today, as the Lord says in Isaiah 13, that He put a hook in their jaw. He's doing it. He's drawing them into this war, and He's going to fight against them for the Israelites. It says in Revelation 18 and 20, "Rejoice over her, thou heaven, and ye holy apostles and prophets, for our power, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, hath avenged you on her. And a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone," which is representing the nuclear destruction of America that's going to be commanded by Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, "and cast it into the sea." The sea is the people. The people in America is a melting pot, a sea of people. All right, and he's gonna cast it, uh, those nuclear missiles, by controlling the hearts of the kings, as it tells you, the heart of the king is in the hand of the Lord. He moves it wherever he wants, and he's going to cause their allies and enemies to shoot nukes on America. All right. Thus, with violence, saying, thus with violence shall that great city Babylon, the land of confusion, which in America you can have whatever religion you want, be thrown down and shall be found no more at all. And the voice of harpers and musicians and of pipers and trumpeters shall be heard no more at all in thee, and no craftsman, and it says of whatsoever craft he be. But they're building these vain buildings that are gonna be destroyed, these apartment buildings, these FEMA camps. They're building all these buildings, but it's all gonna be destroyed in nuclear missiles. It says, shall be found any more in thee, and the sound of a millstone shall be heard no more at all in thee, which this was a place of hard bondage, a place of slavery, and there will be no man in this land forever, ever again after this nuclear destruction. All right. It says in verse 23, and the light of a candle shall shine no more at all in thee, and the voice of the bridegroom and of the bride shall be heard no more at all in thee. So in this land, after this nuclear destruction, there will be no more people ever to be here ever again. It's going to become a great desert. For thy merchants were the great men of the earth, which you could look this up. America is the number one consuming country. Number two is China, and that's because they make everything to sell to America. And America is a small country compared to these other countries. All right, but its consuming is high level according to prophecy. For by thy sorceries were all nations deceived, which they believed the lies of America, like white Jesus, which is a goddamn lie. And in her, America, the whore, was found the blood of prophets, because they're going to persecute us unto death because we don't take the implantable microchip, and of saints, the Israelites, because of their sword, right? They're going to slaughter Jake in Jacob's trouble. They're going to cause a great tribulation through bringing out that implantable microchip. And they're going to use the sword to persuade you and deceive you into taking that implantable microchip. And of all that were slain upon the earth, which America is the one dropping bombs in Japan, dropping bombs in Iran, dropping bombs in Syria, dropping bombs in every country, Yemen, all these countries, all right, are in a bad state because of America. The wicked rule, the people mourn. When the righteous rule, the people will rejoice. And the Israelites, which are the righteous ones, are about to rule, and we're going to rule forever. And this is why the earth will begin to rejoice, as it says in Isaiah 14. Shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel. May you endure unto the end. Shalom wa abba.